Yay! So, due to popular demand, we're going to solve some examples on Newton's third law of motion. Pero most likely, this is about equilibrium, no? Static equilibrium. So, how does that look like? Okay. So, from our class last time, nastoryahan ta na siya nga, let's say, nga sa isa ka object, no? Kasi nga tungtong siya bisa sa log or something. And then, there is a force pushing to the right, F1. Okay. If you want that object to remain static, so non-moving, you can go ahead and apply a force towards the opposite direction, F2. Okay. Therefore, this F2 is equal in magnitude to F1, pero opposite lang ang iyang direction, so ang sign niya is negative. Okay? So, with that, guys, ang akon to yung naging percent sa class was, let's say you have F1, which is equal to F2, no? What happens is, if you move F2 to the other side of your equation, that's F1 minus F2, and you're left with 0. Okay. That is, if your object is non-moving or not moving, therefore, it is under static equilibrium. Okay. So, yeah, from the word na static, wala gagiyon, non-moving. Equilibrium just means balance. If that is the case, the sum of your forces along the x-axis or your x components will be equal to 0, and your y components are all equal to 0 as well. So, yeah, you should be able to find all the forces acting on that object. Kung i-equate mo lang siya sa 0, this includes the weight of that object, di ba? And friction if there is, or if friction is applicable in that situation. Okay, so to present this idea, we have examples here. Determine the magnitudes of the forces C and T, which along with the other three forces shown act on the bridge truss joint. So in this case, guys, we don't know what those forces C and T are. We are used to sa aton nga mga prelim nga classes, the fact that we can just look for the resultant. Okay, in this case, we don't even know what the resultant is, and we have to look for C and T. But that is easy. Just know that summation of forces along the x-axis is equal to 0, and for the y later on is equal to 0 as well. So, unang tada na isuma ang x components. So, 0 equals, look for all that are along the x-axis. You have 16, it's pointing to the left, that is negative 16, okay, negative x-axis. And then 8 is positive, so that's plus 8. Okay, now we have t. Kapag man siya Japon sa right, so that's plus t cosine 40 degrees. Meanwhile, C, it is going downward, basi ma-confuse ka mo, but it's still pointing to the right. So, that is still a positive C. Here's a little trick. So, before, what we did was, we always look for the angle that is resting along the x-axis. And then, from that, you can say that 70 degrees na siya, miss. And then, you can use cosine. Okay, what if lang, instead of doing that, you can just say C cosine, no. C sine 20 degrees. This is actually possible. Okay, so later on, i-compare ta na siya sa y component, no? Let's just simplify the whole thing. So, negative 16 plus 8, that is negative 8, di ba? Negative 8. Pero, i-transfer ko siya sa px na equation. This should give me 8 equals, now, cosine 40 is 0.766t, and sine 20 is 0.342 in C. So, equation 1. Now, you have all the components along the y. So, that is 0 equals 16 and 8. So, horizontal sila. No need to include them. 3 is pointing downward, so that's negative 3. C is pointing downward, so that is, later lang. Si T na T. So, it's pointing upward, that's positive, T sine 40. Kaya diba, y-axis, ang ginalan, or y component, ang ginalan tao, so sine na gamiton. Tanong. Meanwhile, C is pointing downward, so negative C. Pero, ang gamiton ko subong is cosine 20 degrees. Okay, so maybe you've noticed the difference, no? If the angle is starts at the x-axis, then you can just follow the original na cosine basta x, sine basta y. But if you see an angle resting on the y-axis, like 20 degrees, do the opposite. So, use sine para kay x, use cosine para kay y. So, sulion mo lang siya. But if you're not used to this, and anad kita sa vectors naton, wherein you look for an angle resting on the x-axis, that is fine. So, if you want to use all cosine for x, all sine for y, that is okay. Okay, just showing you another option. Now, moving forward, we simplify this whole thing. Negative 3, if we move it to the left of our equation, that's positive 3 equals sine 40.0643t. And then C is negative 0.940 para kay cosine 20. So, in this case, guys, we have two equations, 1 and 2. Two equations, two unknowns. You can use either elimination or substitution, but I think I like substitution, no? Okay, so pagamayon ta lang siya. Oops. So, ginagmay na algebra. Okay. So, erase. Let's see here. Sino ko nga i-extract man? Okay, I'll just extract the value of t from number 1. Okay, so from number 1. So, 8, dra na siya nga daan. Si 0.342c, i-transfer ko de. 342c. And then, I am left with 0.766t on this side of the equation. Now, para t lang, kaya mo na siyang i-extract ko, i-divide ko tanan sa 0.766. So, cancel na siya. T na lang eh. Okay. This value, gamiton ko na siya diri kay equation 2. So, what will happen is, may muna siyang 3 equals 0.643. Instead of using t, ang gamiton ko is 8 minus 0.342c over 0.766. So, siya na si t. Okay? Minus 0.940c. So, as you can see, c. Ang nabili na lang gid nga variable sa aton nga bagong nga equation is c. So, hapos na lang na siya i-extract or hapos na pangitaon. Okay. So, let me just move this para may space ko. And then erase. Okay. So, back again, we have 3 equals, now 0.643 times 8 over 0.766. So, 0.643 times 8 divided by 0.766. Again, syntax error. Okay. We have 6.715. Okay. Minus. So, 0.643 times 0.342. That is 0.287c. Okay. Minus 0.940c. So, combine like terms tanan nga constants kag tanan nga may variables. So, 3 minus 6.715 is equal to negative 3.715 equals, we have negative 0.287 minus, negative 0.287 minus 0.940. This is equal to negative 1.227c. Okay. So, with that, divide natin sa negative 1.227 para c na lang ang mabilin. And 3.715 divided by 1.227 will give us c that is equal to 3.03. And this is in kilonewtons. Okay. So, Miss Dokalaba, gid sa nga aton nga process of, well, in this case, guys, the process which is supposed to be under physics is this, the understanding that x and y components should be equal to 0. Otherwise, this part right here is algebra na siya. So, go back to your algebra, remind yourselves how to do elimination or substitution, okay? So, C is 3.03 kilonewtons. How do we find T? Remember this? This one? Okay. So, that's why we save that because substitute nyo lang C, 3.03 diri okay C. So, what it will look like, i-change ko lang color pa hindi confused, no? You have 8 minus 0.342. Ang C is 3.03 over 0.766. And T should be equal to, so butang nyo lang sa calculate nyo. 8 minus 0.342 times 3.03 divided by 0.766. And yeah, T is 9.09 kilonewtons. Okay? So, those are the values of your C and T. Now, kapag gusto lang ko gamit sa numbers because I'm confident that all of them are in kilonewtons, if you see your figure, make sure that they are all in the same units. If one is different, then you should convert para kapag gusto ka na lang gamit numbers lang, okay? Okay, let's move to the next example, no? The guy cables AB and AC are attached to the top of the transmission tower. The tension in cable AB is 8 kilonewtons. So, this is cable AB. I'll just name that T. Hey, wag kang di gumana. So, that will be TAB for tension AB. That's still a force, okay? And AC, this guy here, that's TAC, are attached to the top of the transmission tower. The tension in cable AB is 8 kilonewtons. So, kabalo kita sini nga value. Determine the tension in AC. So, TAC ang ginapangita such that the effect of the two cable tensions is a downward force at point A. And that downward force is called R. Determine the magnitude R of this downward force. So, butangan ta lang disang letter R. So, we have three forces here. This one, and this one. TAB is pulling downward. Kaya wala kita arrow. Unlike some earlier natin na examples where we have arrows, you can determine if you're going to use positive or negative sa imo nga X kag Y. So, yeah, guy cables are supposed to hold your tower down. And yeah, that's why I'm putting the arrows downward. Okay? What about our angles? So, we are going to look for those values. Don't put the angles here sa dalom. Kay ti ang guasin ni guys, ang inyong X and Y axis ara sa babaw. Whoops. Ara siya, oh. So, aring inyong origin, no? Kaya ang inyong duwa ka cables, ga point sila downward. So, ang inyong angle, ari di ako. Hindi man diri, okay, ka-weird man na. Ano na siya, yeah. However, the good thing is, they are similar angles. Okay? Ang tawag sa guys sa geometry man, interior, basta gano'n. Pero pareho na sa Japan nga angle. Okay? We are given distances, however, pero po sana siya paminsaro. Now, if you want to look for angle AB, so, change color na ako. This angle AB, and angle AC, use trigonometry. Okay. So, you have 40 diriho and you have 50. That means, guys, ini nga distance diyo is also 40 and this distance is also 50. No? You can use trigonometry and then remember nga you have opposite and adjacent. So, ano na siya? Sine, cosine, or tangent? So, it's tangent, right? So, for theta AB, magamit ko arc tangent. Ang opposite sang akon nga theta is ario C50. Din na ko C50 mis ario 30 kag 20. So, same lang man ni sila nga distansya. No? So, observe ang opposite ko is 30 plus 20 which is equal to 50. So, that's arc tan 50 over. Ang adjacent na akon is this guy here which is the same as 40. So, that's 50 over 40. Butang nyo sa calculator nyo, you should get 51.34 degrees. Okay? That's the same thing as angle AC. Just a bit different because si angle AC na to, ng iyang opposite is only 30 because it's stuck on a hill. So, arctan, 30 over, ang iyang adjacent is this long distance over here, which is the same as 50. So, it's 30 over 50. And you should get 30.96 degrees. So, take note of those angles kay gamito na sila naton. Now, same thought as earlier. We are going to why man akong ginunan? Make sure that all the forces along the x are equal to 0. So 0 kita equals CR, it's pointing downward, directly downward, so it's not included. We have TAB and TAC which have angles, so they have x components. Okay. 8 is pointing to the left side sang aton nga x, so negative 8 na siya. So 8 cosine, ang nasolve today for AB is 51.34 degrees. Okay? Now, TAC is pointing to the right, so that's positive. Why kita kabalo, so let's just call it TAC cosine 30.96 degrees. Okay? And then, simplify this. There's no need to use elimination and substitution as earlier. You should find that, let's see here, 8 cosine 51.34. 8 cosine 51.34 is equal to 4.997 or 4.998. Na negative in this side, so I'm going to transpose. That becomes 4.998 positive equals TAC cosine 30.96 is equal to 0.858. And then to remove that, divide ko siya sa 0.858. So cancel. And then you should know that TAC is equal to 4.998 divided by 0.858 is equal to 5.83. So, it's 5.83. Ang units natin is kilonewtons. So, we have found DAC. Okay. Now, for the summation of forces along the Y, it's that you have 0, no, equals. R is pointing downward, so it's negative R right away. You have TAB is also pointing downward, that's negative 8 sine 51.34 degrees. TAC, now you know what TAC is. So that's negative 5.83 sine 30.96. So all you have to do is put this in your calculator. R transpose sa piyak, so may muna siya positive R, di ba? You have negative 8 sine 51.34 minus 5.83 sine 30.96. I have negative 9.25 kilonewtons. Let me check lang ha. So, 8 sine 51.34. Okay. And then I have 5.83 sine 30.96. Yeah, it's 9.25 kilonewtons for me. It's downward, so it's negative, which is okay. Okay. Oops. Weird ba naman? Okay, that's it. So, the definition of this is, ang aton nga tension along the AB guy wire is 8 kilonewtons. Meanwhile, the guy wire AC has a tension 5.83 kilonewtons, no? Okay. And because of that, guys, ang TAB kag TAC, makahimo sila sang resultant na downward force, which is 9.25 kilonewtons sa aton nga tower.